Hey everyone, Kate Winter here with the sixth and last episode of What Remains of Edith Finch. In the last episode we learned about the fates of Gus, who was killed by debris, of Milton, who just plain disappeared without a trace, even less trace than Barbara, and of Lewis, who committed suicide. Whew. When I say that this is going to be the last episode, it's because I was in the credits when my tower crashed again, so I know that there's not much left to the game. And we also only have the stories of Edie and Dawn left, which we are going to explore right now, because Dawn and Edie's room is just up top.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
Here's the broken stairs, so we can't circumvent this part.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Or a bit more difficult. Now, this is a construction I would very much love to visit, but also doubt its structural integrity.
I wish we'd stayed.
Million missing
But
posters.
I understand why we left.
Defunct fridge. There's two little scenes that I missed earlier, because there's a little pond next to the Finch house if you go down to the right instead of going up to the main entrance, where you see the remains of the dragon slide that killed Sven. And there is a little comment in the kitchen about how there's only one place that delivers here, so there's a lot of Chinese takeout. And something I mentioned in an earlier episode is that it's fascinatingly untouched. Nothing has been vandalized. Everything is as it remains. You. Everything is as it remained. Why is there light here? Possibly generator or some sort. Or solar cells. That being said, I can also see a lot more now that it's darker outside my window. I'm not playing at day. Nothing has been stolen, nothing has been ransacked. There were no squatters.
My
Not
mom
even-
ended up leaving everything behind.
Not even wild animals. So she tried to leave everything behind, so she might... Oh hey, we know that picture. So we might... so she might leave the curse behind as well. Book she wrote. Story. one thing is Sanjay is interred here, whereas Dawn isn't. The way Edith tells the story is that Sanjay died, father died, and then they moved back to the house. But then why is he buried on the Finch estate?
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Must have been drafty up here. Paper mache version of the house, didn't see that before. Still lots and lots and lots of books. I would love glow-in-the-dark stars that are so bright. Girl, don't put your shoes on the...
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word.
Don't put your dirty shoes on
Until
the...
supper, when she raised her glass and said,
Old.
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
She didn't leave for the fire either. She was too bound to the house. Let's see if I can...
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles.
Oh, no, music box is here, but the key is gone.
When my mom said the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance.
We never get to explore that one apart from... Ah. The box and these chairs blocking the way
Or that
apart.
Edie had a key to it.
We never get to explore that apart from our flashback, from this flashback, sadly. I want to see that library. It would, oh my god, I would want to visit this library in
You're
real life.
afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your story. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it
Oh my
the
god.
lowest tide in 1,000 years.
I researched a little bit, and in June 1999 there was a tide that went as low as minus
God,
2.8
it smelled
feet.
awful.
But I
No.
don't...
I've seen that house every day of my
I don't know if that would suffice to make the sea go that far down.
But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Fuller's garden door. Suddenly
Things
in
I
tactiles.
can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
We never get to see the end of that story either, which is kind of sad because it would have been...
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the band came to pick her up, and she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you.
Welcome to root level.
But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
that is What Remains of Edith Finch. Not much apparently, except for her journal or her epitaph. We don't know how much time passed when exactly the game plays between the death of her mother and the birth of her son. But it's a likely theory that she died in childbirth, which is a very rare occurrence these days. One of the things to note about all the deaths is that they have a supernatural and fantastic explanation and a more mundane, and we are left to ponder which one we prefer, or if we prefer any at all. And I kind of like that we don't get that answer, because the answer takes away the mystery, and no answer would be appropriate or good enough to be the answer to that mystery. Molly's death, she says she was eaten by a monster, but she ate holly berries, and those are poisonous. Who else? Barbara. Barbara disappeared on the night when a serial killer was out. And so did her boyfriend. All they found was her ear. The images we see with Gus are the jellyfish thing, but they found him buried by debris. Walter feared a monster. That was highly likely. He feared a monster banging at his door. Same time a train went through and he was run over by it. Milton Milton could have run into the fantasy world, or his painted world, or he could have just run away. Lewis couldn't deal with reality, but here the question is, was he sick of reality? I mean, yes. Or did he have trouble separating and discerning between reality and his fantasy? Calvin had an accident. So did Sam. Gregory died to neglect, because you don't leave an infant or a toddler unattended in a bath. That's exactly the reason why. Although his imagined end is quite fantastical. And we have a slew of people who die young. Some who don't. Edie held on for a long, long time. But when it became clear that Dawn and Edith were leaving again, after Lewis and Moulton were gone as well, she passed just a day later. This is very much much more story you can walk through than a game. And I'm not sure there's more I can say about it. So I won't. And I guess see you guys next game. Bye bye.